Hi, beloveds. Hope this finds you well today. I want to talk to you about a study that happened. It was published back in 2005 by the Harvard Business Review, and it's really interesting. It's called Competent Jerks and Lovable Fools and the Formation of Social Networks. Very interesting. And the gist of this article is that when people need to work together at work to get a job done, when they need to work with others, with their colleagues to meet their goals and get results, they prefer to work with a group of people called lovable fools, okay? A lovable fool is someone, it's a colleague who they're very pleasant to work with, they're very nice, easy to get along with, but they're not that competent. They don't really know what they're doing. But you know what? They're just so nice to work with, okay? People at work, when they need to get a project done, would rather work with lovable fools than another group of people called competent jerks, okay? A competent jerk is someone who, based on this study, okay, not my words, based on the study, someone who is very competent. They know exactly what they're doing. They're going to do the job well, but you know what? They're not really pleasant to work with. Whatever that reason is, you just do not want to work with them, okay? So if you have a choice between a lovable fool and a competent jerk, this study found that people prefer to work with a lovable fool than a competent jerk. So very interesting. And then the other thing that this study found that I think is really interesting that I want to share is that if you are strongly disliked as a person, your competence is pretty much irrelevant, okay? Because people don't want to work with you anyway. All right, so those are two kind of things to take from the study. And so all that said, this is what I want to share with you. Number one, being liked matters. Okay, being liked matters. It's a business reality. It's a fact. So being likable, being pleasant to work with, that matters in a huge way. The second thing is being pleasant to work with can mitigate your incompetence. Those people at work who aren't competent clearly, but they just haven't been fired. Yeah, they could be a family member, the boss, or something like that. But you know what? Chances are they're probably pretty likable, okay? And so when you are likable, when you're pleasant to work with, you get so much more leeway. You get more chances. You get the benefit of the doubt. Your likability, your pleasantness, people who want to work around you and with you, it mitigates your incompetence. That's actually, what the study has found. So that's another thing to take from this. Being likable matters, okay? It mitigates your incompetence, all right? And the other thing that I want to mention about this is the only other type of coworker, based on this study, and something to keep in mind, that people would prefer to work with even more than the lovable fool, is a group of people called competent star. The lovable star. The lovable star, okay? So the lovable star is competent and they are pleasant to work with, okay? So the type of coworker people want to work with the most is the lovable star. They are competent and they're pleasant to work with. Below that, people would prefer to work with a lovable fool. And you know who's at the bottom of the list? The competent jerk. So your personality in terms of how you are and how you treat people at work, if people don't want to be around you, if you're not likable, your competence doesn't matter at the end of the day, because people would prefer to work with someone who's nicer than you, easier to be around, but less competent than you. Okay, so this is something good for people to keep in mind if they're a manager, if they're a supervisor. And then also it helps us understand, why do people who aren't that competent still kind of get to hang around a little bit, okay? So another takeaway for you all is this. If you happen to be a lovable fool, and you know who you are, if you're that kind of person at work who you're pleasant to be around, but you're not quite competent yet, get competent. You're not that far away from being the lovable star. Once you get to be the lovable star, that's where the magic happens. So close that gap, get your competence on track. Educate yourself formally, informally, do a mentorship, study on your own, do whatever you need to do to fill that gap so you can get from a lovable fool to a lovable star. All right. So, being nice to people really matter, okay? All right then. So we'll see you next time. Leave a comment in the chat. Let me know if this was helpful to you. Let me know if you have any questions. Happy to chat with you about it. Bye-bye, y'all.